On this edition of Talking Preps, Chip Darden, the head football coach at Lubbock Cooper, joins us. Coach, how are you?
Well, we're doing well. We're surviving and trying to live this new way of life right now. But everything's good. Everybody's healthy, so no complaints this way.
That's all you can ask for. Wow, what a debut season for you last year. You make the semifinals, 13-2. Kind of set a high bar for yourself, didn't you? A little bit first season out of the gate.
Yeah, it was a fun year. I think anybody that's in this profession knows when you got good kids, you usually have a pretty good team. We had a bunch of really good players and great coaching staff that I think everybody meshed really well together, and that's always fun to see. Didn't end the way we wanted to, but I think once you're able to remove yourself from the season and go look back at it, you realize how much fun it was and how much success these guys had, and just really enjoyed being a part of it and getting to know a lot of those guys.
I would imagine, too, there's also momentum coming off of a season like that, but with what has happened and all the restrictions, no school, now the 7-on-7's been scrapped for the summer, how do you come up with a creative way to kind of keep that momentum going for when play resumes, hopefully this fall?
Yeah, that's tough, and I do think there was a lot of excitement. I think we saw it in the off season that we had, January to mid March. We just saw our kids kind of the way they were handling themselves a little bit different, and we've seen that the last few years with Max Catwinkle as the head coach. Just kind of how our guys expect to do some things, and they set high expectations. But this has changed everything, and I think week to week and even day to day, we're adjusting what we're doing and how we're keeping those high expectations, but also knowing that their safety and health is first. But I think what we're going to see is once we're able to get back together, is everybody one is not going to take it for granted. I mean, I think it's pretty easy to take for granted playing 10 football games and having a big crowd and the band and all that stuff there. I think everybody will appreciate all that a little bit more once we're back. And then number two, I think the guys and coaches too are just going to be ready to get back. Everybody's going to be excited to get up and work out and be around each other and have that camaraderie, because that's the more you go along in this, that's what you miss. I mean, if we're not able to play football games next year, that'll be a shame, and we want to, but at the same time, what we're going to miss is being around those guys and everybody. Kind of what you get there with all sports, where the fellowship that you've got with coaches and players. And so I know we as coaches are looking forward to getting back for that aspect, but I really think the kids will be too.
No question. Speaking of that camaraderie, what are you doing to keep the team somewhat involved together, doing a lot of virtual Zooms, or how do you go about trying to keep everybody together on the same page?
Yeah, we're pretty fortunate at our school. We've this year every kid in our school has an iPad, so it's helped us out with being able to get in touch with those guys. So yeah, we're doing about 3 times a week. We're trying to get together in some way. On Mondays we're doing team meetings. We're getting a lot of guys on there, and usually having a guest speaker come in and talk to them and doing just some motivational type stuff. And then on Wednesdays and Fridays we're trying to do a little bit more football. And we're using Google Meet right now. Some coaches might be using Zoom, but kind of trying to use that Google Meet. Everybody's pretty familiar with how to do it, and getting together, watching film, doing just. We were going to start spring football this past week, so kind of our thought process was we want to be as much spring football as we would. So we would normally practice about 3 days a week. So that's what we're trying to do, and trying to keep everybody engaged, and then doing some little things with our workouts. We post a workout every Monday for them to do throughout the week. And then on Fridays, we've got an app or a resource called Flipgrid that probably a lot of teachers are using, where they can post their videos. And I think that's a pretty neat deal. We've been able to see them post their videos working out and doing some things. And then, it's kind of private, where not everybody is getting to see what we're doing, but they're getting to see each other working out. Coaches are getting to see them. So doing some things like that, it's been really good. We've had really good participation. I think that goes back to what I said before, that they want it. They want to be around each other. They want to see each other, and they want to do football. They want to do school, and even though some of them might not admit that they want to do school, they want that. They want that structure, and so I think it's been good. We've had really good participation. I think the guys have handled all of it really well.
Do you think in the way you coach will be in any way affected by this? Maybe you change certain things?
Yeah, I could see that. I've been a believer, and I think a lot of the guys on our staff are too, that you've got to be yourself when you're coaching. If you're a laid back and not a yeller, that's what you got to be. And you've got all these different personalities. So I think, for me personally, I'm going to be myself, but at the same time, I think it goes back to what I talked about earlier, that I'm going to sure appreciate all of it more. I'm going to appreciate the early morning weight room stuff, that sometimes it's hard to get out of bed, and sometimes, things might not be going well, and when you maybe would get really mad, that you still appreciate it, and there's still a bigger picture to it. And I think that's the main thing that'll change with my mind. And I also, we're learning technology. I'm not the most technology savvy guy, but I'm learning a lot about Zoom and Google Meet and how to do it. And I think we'll do some things that allow coaches to get home with families earlier, to allow kids to get home with their family, because that's something I've figured out through this too. Is it's a little, maybe not new way of life, but kind of a different way of going about it right now. And I'm loving being around my family all the time. Like, getting to be around my kids all day, every day is good for me. Now, I don't know about them; they may be hating it, but I'm sure loving it. And so I think that's something that we'll change too. Not necessarily my coaching style, but we'll do some things to get home a little bit earlier and continue to be around family.
Excellent. Have you picked up any new hobbies during this quarantine time?
No, I've always played a little bit of golf, so I'm trying to do some of that. And then I've got a 3.5-year-old boy, and we try to go fishing once a week or so to get out of the house and get outside, and he enjoys it. But you know how that goes. I don't last real long fishing, but a 3.5-year-old really doesn't. So if we're not catching anything, we're not out there very much. But getting a lot of yard work done and things like that.
I can attest to that. I imagine everybody's doing a lot more yard working than they're used to. Should be some great looking lawns and yards come this summer.
Yes, sir. No doubt about it. Those honeydew lists seem to be growing right now.
Oh, they never end. It's ridiculous. Well, we're having a little fun here. You have time to take a little quick quiz?
You bet.
All right, here we go. Hold on. What is more likely to be on your playlist, classic country or classic rock?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Probably classic rock, but I like both.
We'll accept that. Much more. Would you be more likely to watch tonight, Hulu or Netflix?
Netflix.
And that brings us to this burning question: which show would you be more likely to watch, The Tiger King or Ozark?
Oh man, I have not seen Ozark, but I've heard it is great. And I watched Tiger King, and I may get bashed for this, but I was not a fan, so I'm going to say Ozark.
Oh, it's very good.
Okay.
And very binge worthy. You will enjoy that. Yeah, Tiger King. Do you think Carol did kill her husband?
I don't know. I think there are some crazy people in that show. I don't know who to believe.
Yeah, it's almost hard to believe it was real life. It was just so far out there. Crazy. Board game, most likely played at the Darden house tonight. Monopoly or Uno?
Probably Uno.
That's been a popular one at our house as well. And our final question, best wrestler of all time, Hulk Hogan or Ric Flair?
And I'm going to, on out of those two, I'm going to pick Hulk Hogan. But if there was an option C, I would go the Ultimate Warrior.
Oh,
but, we'll go with Hulk Hogan right now.
Okay. The Ultimate Warrior. What was it about the Ultimate Warrior that?
That was when that was all going on. I was at the prime age to be watching that. Then was WWF wrestling. So
mm-hmm.
I liked Hulk Hogan too, but I was a fan of the Ultimate Warrior.
So you were more a WWF guy than a WCW guy.
Yes, sir. Sure was.
It's amazing how sometimes this show turns into a wrestling podcast, but that's okay.
And I had a brother he's 7 years younger than me, so I got to try out a lot of those moves on my younger brother when I was watching all that.
Oh, nice. What was your most effective move?
I honestly don't even remember who it was that used to pick them up, their finishing moves, pick them up over the head and drop them. I tried that one just a few times with my little brother, so
Oh my gosh.
toughened him up pretty good.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the time. Stay safe out in Lubbock, and hopefully things will get back to normal, whatever normal will be. But hopefully some things are starting to open up. How long would it take, do you think, or how long would you need before practice starts? Is there a need to have like a set time of conditioning before starting practice?
Yeah, I think so. I think and I don't know. I've heard some colleges and what they might need, and this and that. And I don't know that we would need as much as I'm hearing some people request, but I think we're going to need to me, a month of strength and conditioning stuff to get going. There's just we lose a whole lot of time right now of off season where you're building strength that I think helps prevent injuries down the road. And most schools are doing all that stuff with injury prevention. So I think we're going to need at least a month to me before we start practicing, and then you need, a few weeks of practice time before you start playing games. So, we'll obviously do whatever the smarter people than me say, but I think that's a pretty good timeline to have about 6 weeks or so.
Yeah, and that's the big thing right now because, as you mentioned, the strength and conditioning and the development over the summer, it's always kind of been on the athlete to do it, but it's even
Hmm.
more important this year.
Yeah, and I know we're not the only one with that theme, but that's been a big theme. Us talking to the guys is, there's the old cliche phrases, champions are made when nobody's watching and things like that. Well, that's easy to say when we're in off season and we see them every 5 days a week, and well, now you're really going to see that, and you're really going to be able to tell when we come back who's been sitting on the couch. And I'm not talking about coaches because I know coaches have been sitting on the couch, but
Yeah.
for the kids, we'll find out. But all kids are kids, 16-year-old kids. It takes them about a week and a half probably to get in shape. So I think it'll be able to happen. I hope it's able to happen, but we're also open minded and know that it's bigger than us. It's bigger than high school football. It's bigger than college football, and but hopefully it all works out.
One last question. We've had some coaches who think maybe that this idle time is good for the kids because so many of them go 12 months nonstop in a cycle. You think that maybe it's good to have a little downtime right now for them? It comes at a good
I
time.
think, yeah, I think that's spot on. And obviously, you hate it for or track kids or baseball kids, the sports that right now lost their season. You hate to say this is a good time for this to happen. But I do think I think we're a little bit different in the summer. They've given us, a little bit more time that we can work with kids in the summer, and we try to get our kids out of there during the summer. Go be a kid. Go, and, that's going to change a little bit this year, but I do think there's some value into them being at home and getting family time and getting away from some of that stuff. But um, and I hope it changes perspective a little bit for parents and kids too. Kind of like I was talking about with coaches, how we've changed our perspective a touch. I hope it does the same for them, and I hope they realize that you're learning some life lessons through sport. You're learning things, but ultimately you're also trying to have fun. And I think if we learn anything from this, I hope it's that, and I hope everybody comes into it with a little different mindset.
Very well said. Well, thank you so much for your time, Coach. Hopefully, we'll catch up to you in a few weeks and we can start talking about actual preparation for the upcoming season.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me, Blair.
You bet. Thank you.